Hello, people of the internet. Today, it's Sunday, so you know what that means. It's Scientific Sunday number 2. In today's episode, I'll go into the immune system and what actually affects the immune system in each individual person. First, let me give you a quick refresher course on the immune system. In the immune system, there are a number of different cell types, but for simplicity's sake, I'll only talk about B cells, T cells, macrophages, and antibodies, which aren't exactly a type of cell because they only contain DNA and a few other organelles, but I'll be talking about them, as I've already said. When an antigen, which is literally short for antibody generators, but can be described as foreign bacteria or viruses that enter the body, when they enter the bloodstream, there are two pathways for the immune system to use to combat the spread of infections. The humoral response, which is the immune response to antigens in the bloodstream, and the cell-mediated response, which is the immune system to antigens that have already infiltrated your cells. I guess I'll just begin with the humoral response. Right now, there are a number of antibodies that circulate throughout your bloodstream. Those antibodies check for MHC, which you can think of as a barcode. This barcode is unique to each individual, and if a cell or cell fragment doesn't have the right one, the antibodies bind to them. And when they bind to them, they actually signal the macrophages, which are just a large immune system cell whose job is to phagocytose or eat invaders, to come and phagocytose, or as I've already said, literally engulfing, and for lack of a better term, eating the cell of interest. When the macrophage does this, it presents a piece of the antigen to a helper T cell, kind of like how a cat presents a bird or mouse it killed to its owner. This helper T cell then uses its genetic material for the creation of memory B cells, regular B cells, and cytotoxic T cells. This is called antigen presentation. The memory B cells are used for future infections by the same antigen. These memory B cells, at time of second infection, they actually pump out a number of antibodies in an effort to curb the infection sooner than the body could otherwise do. The regular B cells immediately start pumping out antibodies that specifically bind to the antigen of interest. Yet again, the macrophages are signaled to come in and phagocytose the antigens. If, however, the antigens have already entered your cells, then the cell-mediated response kicks in. When an antigen, especially viruses, enter your cells, they actually turn them into mini factories of sorts that create like viruses that will continuously attack your body and create more and more of themselves. As a result, the body has to destroy these cells in one of two ways. Again, trusty macrophages could come in and phagocytose them, or cytotoxic T cells, which are made by the helper T cells after antigen presentations, actually go and bind to the cells and pump enzymes in to the cells, which actually dissolve the cell walls or cell membranes depending on the cell type. And since we're talking about humans, it would just have to be the cell membrane, and just like dissolve them, which would just allow all the organelles to, I guess, just diffuse out of the cell, just destroying them. This cycle is what people mean when they say that you quote-unquote grow an immunity towards a disease, since you now have those memory B cells which will instantaneously find and exterminate any like antigens that come back after their first infection. Recently, many have believed that the immune system has a lot to do with genetics, but according to Science Magazine, our immune systems actually have a lot more to do with our environment rather than our genes, through a study including twins that they conducted who, obviously, have identical DNA. In other words, they have identical genetic code. And so, in this study, they found that identical twins actually had very different immune systems, and that your immune system actually adapt to your environment, and they adapt to, I guess, different things that you actually came into contact with throughout your life. And that even if you have the same genetic code, you all, like every human has very different immune system that will protect them from diseases. And through these different immune systems, we actually have a greater chance of survival as a species due to the fact that genetic diversity actually allows humans to adapt in ways that would actually protect us in the case of a large plague or blight that would wipe out species like bacteria that are all identical. Thanks. I hope you guys learned something today. And, as always, don't go changing.